to the YouTube channel of Pratham Test Prep. My name is Hema Chaudhary and I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis session by our channel Pratham Test Prep. I hope you all are doing well. So if we talk about the daily newspaper analysis session, here what we do, in fact, we select the most important news from all the major newspapers, right? And we do the analysis of those particular news. What are the important pointers which are important from the examination point of view from that particular news? What all extra do we need to focus on that particular news? What all facts related to the 360-degree knowledge we need to cover related to that particular news? We need to cover all these things. Now, when we talk about this particular session, we do this session on 5 days a week, which is Monday to Friday at 11:30 a.m. Right, and we talk about the speakers of this daily newspaper analysis session. The main speaker is Ashish Bhargav sir, and when he's not available, I'll do this session, right? So now let's just quickly start these sessions with a good thing that if we talk about the newspaper analysis session or news analysis session, what all kind of news do we cover in this session? So सबसे पहले we cover the important national news. We also cover the important international news, especially those news which are important for India and which have global impact. Then we also cover business and economic news, right? So I'll write business and economic news. Then apart from this, we also talks about the mergers and acquisition, agar koi important hai to, right? We talk about that also. Then we also talk about the persons in news, and person in news can cover in so many ways. Person in news may we can talk about the appointments of a person, right, at the major position, or we talk about a news related to an important personality. Then we also cover important news related to sports. And aisa nahi hai that in every newspaper analysis we cover all the news. We pick some of the news from some of the sections and then we discuss. Apart from sports, we also cover the news related to science and technology. We also cover the news related to summits and conference, or we can say international meetings and etc. Then apart from all these, we can also talk about the bills and amendments, the important legal news, maybe awards and honors, and other miscellaneous news. So we cover all such news. So we pick important news from from few of the sections, right, from these particular sections, and then we do the daily news analysis of the same. Now let's just start with an important quote which says, study hard. No matter if it seems impossible, no matter if it takes time, no matter if you have to up all night, just remember the feeling of the success is the best feeling in the entire world. So what we need to do here is we need to study hard and we need to study smart, right? And with this we can achieve success of clearing the entrance exam and getting admission in our dream college, right? And apart from the newspaper analysis, we talks about the questions of the day which give you the flavor of the type of question that can come from these kind of news. And when we talk about Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel, so Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel, we are not just providing newspaper analysis session, but there are so many sessions that we are providing which can help you in your entrance preparation. For example, first, this is daily newspaper analysis session Monday to Friday at 11:30 a.m. Then deep dive on 2 days, one on Tuesday, another on Thursday. The timing is 3 p.m. Then we also do legal current affairs, very important for law student. Legal current affairs session हम करते हैं thrice a week, which is Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 3 p.m. Then we do daily current affairs sessions, but not on daily basis, but twice a week, and those 2 days are Monday and Friday. The timing is 8:30 p.m. Right? Then if we talk about the another important session, this is Boost your vocabulary. So vocab sessions on thrice a week, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. And then two important sessions, maths मुद्दा and logical reasoning, जो हम करते हैं twice a week, twice a month, and the date and the timings will be announced beforehand. And if you want to know about the upcoming sessions or upcoming live sessions on Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel, what you need to do is you need to subscribe the channel now. You need to press the bell icon to get the notification. Now, if you guys are preparing for IPM or IIM Indore or IIM Rohtak or any other IIM, you can join our Telegram channel with the name IPM @Pratham Test Prep. If you are preparing for CUET, you can join our CUET Telegram channel, CUET @Pratham Test Prep. And if you are preparing for CLAT and other law exams, you can follow our Telegram channel, CLAT @Pratham. तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं अपनी पहली न्यूज़ के साथ, right, which is saying racing ahead. If you look at the picture, you can see that यहाँ पे we are talking about Kambala, right? Here we are talking about Kambala, which is basically a sports field, or you can say a game, right, जिसमें कौन इंक्लूडेड होता है? इट इज़ नथिंग बट एक्चुअली अ बफेलो रेस, राइट? सो Kambala was in news, right? And when we talk about this particular picture, this is a pair of buffalo running in a slush field during the Surya Chandra. So that was the name of the festival. That was Surya Chandra Jodukare Kambala, where at Vennur in Dakshina Kannada on Saturday it was happened. So basically हम ये कह सकते हैं that this is a major festival or game of Karnataka, right? And this is a traditional race which is very popular and unique sport among the farming communities in the state of Karnataka. So K for Kambala, K for Karnataka, you can remember it like this. So now what exactly is this? इसके बारे में थोड़ा डिटेल में पढ़ते हैं. Kambala is a traditional buffalo race in paddy fields filled with slush and mud, which generally takes place in the coastal Karnataka, the places like Udupi and Dakshina Kannada, right, from November to March of the year. Traditionally, it is sponsored by local Tuluva landlords and households in the coastal district. So यहाँ पे क्या क्या important है? Kambala होता क्या है? It is a traditional buffalo race जो कि किस में किया जाता है? पैडी फील्ड्स में. एंड खाली पैडी फील्ड्स नहीं, जिसको कि फिल किया जाता है विथ स्लश एंड मड, राइट, जो कि कहाँ पे होता है? मेनली विच स्टेट? कर्नाटका. एंड कर्नाटका में भी विच प्लेसेस? उडुपी एंड दक्षिण कन्नड़ा. सो दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. कब होता है? बिटवीन नवंबर टू मार्च एवरी ईयर. इट इज स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय द लोकल तुलुवा landlords. So you need to remember Tuluva name, right? Tuluva landlords. And Tuluva people की अगर हम बात करें, Tuluva people are an ethnic group native to southern India. They are native speakers of Tulu language. So you need to remember the language of Tuluva. So Tuluva's language is Tulu, right? During the race, what happened? The racers try to bring the buffaloes under control by holding their ring tight and whipping them, right? And if we talk about this tradition in its traditional form, Kambala was non-competitive and buffalo pairs raced one after another in the paddy fields. But over a period of time, it has changed its nature. So you should know about Kambala, and that is very important. Now, what are the concerns related to Kambala? So when we talk about the participation of animals or buffaloes in this, animal activists criticize the sports and they argue that the Kambala involves acts of cruelty or on animals which are not physiologically suited for racing, and they run in the race due to fear of being bitten, right? And according to the animal activist, it violates the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960. You need to remember the name of the act. This act prevents the practices which involves any kind of unnecessary pain to the animal amounting to quality. So you need to remember this fact. Now, if we look at the background that from where this concern has been come up, so the Supreme Court, it has banned Jallikattu. Jallikattu क्या होता है? Jallikattu was also one similar kind of race, bullock cart races होती थी ये, and Kambala events in its judgment on 7th May 2014. So Jallikattu जो कि आपका होता है बुलक कार्ट रेस, इसको भी बैन कर दिया था. एंड जो कंबाला है विच इज़ बफेलो रेस, इसको भी बैन कर दिया था सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इन द ईयर 2014, राइट. And the judgment upheld the Constitution of India read with the legislation under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960 and provided animals with the fundamental right to be treated with compassion and dignity and be free from unnecessary pain and suffering, that too just for humans fun, right. And if we talk about this, however, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Karnataka Amendment Ordinance 2017 approved organizing Kambala events provided steps are taken to avoid the cruelty to the participating bulls. So 2014 में बैन ज़रूर हुआ, लेकिन 2017 में एक अमेंडमेंट आया with the name Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Karnataka Amendment Ordinance 2017, which approved the organizing the Kambala event, but with some steps taken for providing or avoid the cruelty to the participating bull. So यहाँ पे ये आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा पूरा, that here we are talking about the Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act of 1960. Then Supreme Court ने 2014 में जल्लीकट्टू एंड कम्बाला इवेंट्स को बैन कर दिया था. देन फिर से 2017 में अमेंडमेंट आया जिसमें अप्रूव कर दिया गया था ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कम्बाला इवेंट ओनली, राइट. नाउ we'll talk about second news. That was the first news. Important pointers have been covered. Now just quickly talk about the second news. A large study shows immense benefit of reducing salt intake. हम सब ने सुना है राइट के जो नमक है वो कम खाना चाहिए, राइट. एंड सॉल्ट इनटेक को कम करने के लिए अगर हम देखें उसके लिए देयर हैव बीन अ लॉट ऑफ स्टडीज विच हैज शोन द इमेंस बेनिफिट ऑफ रिड्यूसिंग द सॉल्ट इनटेक. सो अगर हम रीसेंट स्टडी की बात करें विच वॉज पब्लिश्ड इन द जर्नल ऑफ अमेरिकन कॉलेज ऑफ कार्डियोलॉजी, इट शोज अ हायर इंसिडेंस ऑफ हार्ट अटैक्स, heart failure and strokes with higher frequency of adding salt to one's food, right. So if we talk about intake of salt in higher, or in we can say that higher frequency, it can increase the chances of the heart attacks, heart failure or strokes. And this does not include the salt used for cooking. ऊपर से जो salt add किया जाता है यहाँ पे उसकी बात हो रही है. Over 1.76 lakh participants from UK, right, biobank were followed up for an average 11.8 years तक follow up किया गया. Nearly 7,000 heart attacks and over 2,000 strokes were documented during this period, right. Now इससे related we'll talk about DASH diet. DASH stands for D stands so DASH diet की जब हम बात करते हैं, DASH diet में D stands for dietary, A stands for approaches, S stands for to stop, H for hypertension. So DASH diet is dietary approaches to stop hypertension. So after adjusting for all other risk factors, it was found that adding less salt with food was associated with fewer heart attack and strokes, and this was found to be true even in participants who were following the DASH diet, which is dietary approaches to stop hypertension. Now DASH is the best recommended diet to prevent the cardiovascular events, which involves eating mainly fruits, vegetables, lean meat, poultry, nuts, whole grains, and reducing intake of saturated fats, cholesterol and sugar. WHO ने recommend किया है only 5 gram of salt per day. We need to remember this data कि according to WHO कितना recommendation of salt intake, it is just 5 gram a day, right. So 5 gram of salt per day. The recent study points that the immense benefit of avoiding salts are there, right? And when we talk about the paucity of large and reliable studies which estimates the daily salt intake in our country, we can say that it is imposing a threat on the health of the people who are taking salt in higher frequency, right? So अगर हम देखें बेसिकली इंडिया की अगर हम बात करें, इंडिया में वी आर कंज्यूमिंग more than 10 grams salt per day, and WHO कहता है only 5 grams of salt per day, but we are consuming more than 10 grams per day, far exceeding the recommended allowance, and it could be worse in the children since the recommendation is almost half for them. And when we talk about the Sapiens 8th Foundation among schools and college students in Chennai, जो कि एक सर्वे हुआ था, it shows that 10% prevalence of hypertension is there because of the high intake of salt. And intake of salt may be worse in Indians since pickles are often introduced early in life. We cannot forget the hidden salt in preserved and packaged foods, and consumer is not given a choice to choose food items based on salt content. And why it is important to remember the high sodium content? Another confusion is that majority of the label shows sodium content. The ordinary consumer is not aware that 1 gram of sodium is nothing but 2.5 gram of salt. So ये data भी आपको याद रखना है that 1 gram of sodium is equals to 2.5 gram of salt. It is high time that a product is available in two forms, right? So it is important that we should focus on these things. Now some salt substitutes are good since majority of them contain 25% potassium chloride. 2001 की एक स्टडी हुई थी which found salt substitutes reduce the incidence of stroke and heart attacks by almost 10% and deaths too, right? So it's time to remove that salt shaker from the dining table, right? So you need to remember this data, and because we talked about WHO in here, you need to remember where is the headquarter of WHO. Headquarter of WHO is in Geneva, Switzerland. And if we talk about the head of WHO, so it is Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. So you need to remember these facts. Now, if we talk about the position of salt sector in India, you need to remember that India जो है, it is the third largest producer in the world of salt. So India ranks third in the production of salt in the world, next to US and China. So if we talk about the salt production in the world, the largest producer is USA, second largest producer is China, and third largest producer is India. And sea salt की अगर हम बात करें, it constitutes 70% of the total salt production in the country, and इसमें भी 70% of total salt production includes sea salt. Now, salt manufacturing activities are carried out in the coastal states, mainly in which state? In Gujarat, in Tamil Nadu, right? Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, in Andhra Pradesh, in Maharashtra. So the names are written here: Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Odisha, West Bengal, Goa, and hinterland state of Rajasthan. Now Gujarat, this fact is important that Gujarat produces 2.28.5 million tons of salt per year. यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं किसकी? गुजरात की, which is more than 80% of the country's total production. So अगर इंडिया में पूछा जाए which state is the largest salt producer in India, the answer is Gujarat. Now worldwide अगर हम बात करें, worldwide salt production is currently 200 million tons, which exceeding the marks rapidly. Worldwide industries manufacture this huge quantity of salt not only for consumption but for non-edible and industrial purposes as well. Now, what kind of role can a government play in the development of salt industry? So, salt is central subject listed as item number 58 ऑफ द यूनियन लिस्ट. आप लोगों को पता होगा दैट हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में वी हैव 3 लिस्ट, यूनियन लिस्ट, स्टेट लिस्ट एंड कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट. सो जो स्टेट लिस्ट होती है, आई एम राइटिंग इट हियर, वहाँ पे दिख नहीं रहा होगा आपको. सो एक होती है यूनियन लिस्ट, दूसरी होती है स्टेट लिस्ट एंड तीसरी होती है कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट. सो इफ वी टॉक अबाउट यूनियन लिस्ट, इसके डिसीजन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लेती है. द सब्जेक्ट्स एंड द आइटम्स विच आर देयर इन दी स्टेट लिस्ट, उनका डिसीजन स्टेट्स लेती है. एंड कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट में स्टेट एंड सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट मिलके डिसीजन लेती है, राइट. So if we talk about salt, it is a central subject listed as item number 58 of union list of the 7th schedule of the constitution. It is listed as a mining industry. And if we talk about the government of India, it has de-licensed the salt industry by deleting provisions relating to salt in the Central Excise and Salt Act of 1944. You need to remember these facts here. Now, let's just talk about our third news quickly. Now, when we talk about the third news, it says how the e-rupee will work. So, the main topic is e-rupee. So, अगर हम इसकी बात करें, basically you need to understand that when we talk about the retail CBDC. Now, what is CBDC? CBDC stands for, C stands for central, B stands for bank, D stands for digital and C stands for currency. So CBDC, central bank digital currency, the retail central bank digital currency, it has been launched by RBI, right? And it is a digital token. CBDC is a digital token that will function as the, it is a digital token. We are talking about retail CBDC, central bank digital currency, which was launched by RBI. It is a digital token that will function as the digital equivalent of a bank rate that can be transferred electronically from one holder to another. It can be kept in a wallet on a mobile phone or spent as cash, right? So Reserve Bank of India ने launch किया. The main news is RBI launched CBDC, सेंट्रल बैंक डिजिटल करेंसी, जिसे डिजिटल रुपी या ई रुपी के नाम से कहा जा रहा है. सो ई रुपी क्या है? सेंट्रल बैंक्स डिजिटल करेंसी. Now, what is this CBDC or digital rupee? CBDC is a legal tender which was issued by RBI in digital form. It is same as the fiat currency and is exchangeable one-to-one with the, we can say that the fiat currently, right? Only its form is different. It is not in paper or polymer like the physical cash. It is, you can say, tangible legal tender for which holders need to have a bank account. CBDC will appear as liability. So it will appear as liability, which means currency in circulation on the RBI's balance sheet. Now, if we talk about the e-rupee will be in the form of digital token representing a claim of the central bank and will effectively function as the digital equivalent of a banknote that can be transferred electronically from one holder to another. So we can say that same आपका एक करेंसी नोट की तरह काम करेगा. इट्स जस्ट दैट वो एक नोट के फॉर्म में नहीं होगा, पेपर या पॉलीमर करेंसी के फॉर्म में नहीं होगा, बट इट विल बी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ digitization. So a token CBDC is a bearer instrument. So अगर हम बात करते हैं a token CBDC की, so it is a bearer, it is a bearer instrument like a banknote, right? Meaning whosoever holds the token at the given point of time will be presumed to own them. Same इसमें होगा token of CBDC, whosoever, right, holding that token at a given point in time will be presumed to own them. Now, how will or how is RBI introducing the CBDC? So, the pilot launch was done on Thursday, right? It will initially cover the 4 cities. सबसे पहले कहाँ होगी? So, it will cover the 4 cities, and the 4 cities are Mumbai, Delhi, the main cities, Bangalore and Bhubaneswar. So you need to remember this, important from examination point of view. It will cover which 4 cities initially: Mumbai, New Delhi, Bangalore and Bhubaneswar, and then later it will be extended to Ahmedabad, Gangtok, Guwahati, Hyderabad, Indore, Kochi, Lucknow, Patna and Shimla. Right? You can remember these facts. It is written here. बट ये याद रखना है सबसे पहले आपके इन 4 सिटीज़ में होगी, ठीक है. एंड इट विल वर्क इन अ क्लोज्ड ग्रुप कंप्राइजिंग द पार्टिसिपेटिंग कस्टमर्स एंड मर्चेंट्स, राइट. सो ये क्लोज ग्रुप की तरह काम करेगा. 8 banks will participate in the pilot, which includes the banks Central Bank of India, which includes the bank Central Bank of India, which is State Bank of India, first, not Central Bank, State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, Yes Bank and IDFC Bank in the first phase. तो आपको ये 4 बैंक्स का नाम भी याद होना चाहिए. फर्स्ट फेज में SBI है, ICICI बैंक है, Yes Bank है एंड IDFC बैंक है. पहले ये काम करेंगे फर्स्ट फेज में एंड देन लेटर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा, यूनियन बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, HDFC एंड कोटक महिंद्रा बैंक विल ऑल्सो एड ऑन, राइट. सो ये आपका इंपॉर्टेंट है. नाउ हाउ कैन एन इंडिविजुअल यूज दी e-rupee? If we talk about e-rupee, it will be issued in the same denomination as the paper currency and coins and will be distributed through the intermediaries, that is bank will play the role of the intermediaries. Now transaction will be done through digital wallet offered by a participating bank and stored on mobile phones and devices. Transaction जो होगा, it can be both person to person and person to merchant, and for person to merchant transactions such as shopping, there will be QR codes at the merchant locations, ठीक है. Now how is this different from other wallets? It is not very different in terms how it will work, but however UPI based apps like Google Pay and Paytm have a daily per transaction spending limit. RBI has not fixed any limit. Or holding digital rupees in wallets, digital rupee transaction above 2 lakh are likely to be reported as tax matters. That means कितने तक का हो सकता है? 2 lakhs. Now what are the types of the e-rupees? अगर हम बात करें तो पहला रिटेल e-rupee की यहाँ पे हम बात करेंगे क्योंकि उसको अभी किया गया है. देन होलसेल CBDC is designed for restricted access to the selected or select financial institution. So ये दोनों है, आपका रिटेल CBDC भी है एंड होलसेल CBDC भी है. एंड इसको लाने की ज़रूरत क्या थी? लिवरेजिंग द ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजी फॉर दी e-rupee is a stepping stone for India becoming a $1 trillion digital $1 trillion digital economy. India is witnessing a massive growth in the digital transaction, and that is why it is important to launch e-rupee by the Central Bank of India called RBI. Now, how is CBDC different from cryptocurrency? So, being backed by RBI, main difference तो यही हो जाता है that e-rupee is not comparable to private virtual currency like Bitcoin trial, right, which has mushroomed over the last decade. But private virtual currency sit at the substantial odds with the historical concepts of money. They are not commodities or claims on commodities as they have no intrinsic value. But when we talk about e-rupee, it is not like that. So यहाँ पे आपको याद होना चाहिए. And सबसे important that cryptos are not backed up by the central bank. In fact, RBI wants to wants the government to ban the cryptocurrencies in India. But यहाँ पे अगर हम e-rupee की बात करें, it has been launched by RBI, तो यहाँ पे obviously legalization का कभी कोई issue नहीं होगा. एंड CBDC के benefits की अगर हम बात करें, it has the potential to provide significant benefits such as reduced dependency on cash, right, and due to lower transaction cost and reduced settlement risk, it will also have higher fees for risk. Right, so digital rupee has some clear advantage over the digital payments system, right? So payments are final and thus reduce the settlements risk in the financial system with the inclusion of any kind of third party, right? And will CBDC work in an offline mode, so there is no indication yet from the RBI that the e-rupee will function in the form in offline mode or not. So we'll have to wait for it, right? And is it vulnerable to cyber attack? The RBI concept paper says that CBEC ecosystems may be at similar risk of cyber attacks as existing payment bank, but cyber security has been taken as a major concern and RBI will do something for it. So very important topic, e-rupee launched by RBI. So how the e-rupee will work, the retail CBDC launched, or we can say launched by RBI, is a digital token that will function as a digital equivalent of a banknote that can be transferred electronically from one holder to another. It can be kept in a wallet on a mobile phone and spent as cash is spent, right? So it is similar as we talked, right? So e-rupee की अगर हम बात करें, e-rupee has been launched to bolster Indian economy. India is witnessing massive growth in digital transaction, the volume and the value of unified payment interface, right, transaction, which increased 118% in 2022. And India's digital rupee moved based on transparent and efficient technology will provide customers with continuous access to the payment system. We all know that after the demonetization, the digital transaction has been increased, and now after the COVID, right, so obviously COVID के लिए social distancing के time पे भी it was very much clear that the people preferred more digital transaction, and it has been increasing more and more in India, not just in India, in world also. And if we talk about the basic habits of the people, now most of the people don't prefer to keep cash in their wallets, right? And that is why India launched its CBDC, central bank digital currency, और डिजिटल रुपी, या जिसको हम ई रुपी कह रहे हैं, ऑन 1 December 2022, which is an electronic version of cash and will be primarily meant for retail transaction. It will first cover 4 cities. मैं आगे ये सब कवर करवा चुकी हूँ, बट क्लियर राइटिंग में यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है, राइट? सो मुंबई, न्यू दिल्ली, बेंगलुरु एंड भुवनेश्वर. बाद में और सिटीज़ ऐड हो जाएंगी, एंड दिस मेक्स इट इम्पॉर्टेंट टू नो what CBDCs are, how they are different from cryptocurrency and UPI transaction, and also about the safety concerns associated with it. So now what is CBDC or e-rupee? It is a legal tender issued by whom? RBI. In what form? In digital form. It is same as the fiat currency. It is exchangeable one-to-one with the fiat currency. E-rupee will be in the form of digital token, which represents a claim on the central bank and will effectively function as the digital equivalent of a banknote that can be transferred electronically from one holder to another. पहले भी समझ चुके हैं, समझ चुके हैं, right? It is based on the usage and the functions performed by the digital rupee. Considering different levels of accessibility, RBI has demarcated the digital rupee in 2 categories. पहला, retail e-rupee, very important. It is an electronic version of cash primarily meant for retail transaction, which can potentially be used by at most everyone and can be provided access to safe money. And second, इसमें अगर हम देखें तो wholesale आता है आपका 2 categories में. एक है आपका retail rupee, एक है retail e-rupee, एंड दूसरा है होलसेल ई रुपी. अभी जो लॉन्च हुआ है दैट इज retail e-rupee. Now how will e-rupee circulated in the market? This is the main question. So e-rupee will be issued in the same denomination as paper currency and coins. It will be distributed through the intermediaries, and intermediaries here are banks. Transaction will be through digital wallet offered by participating banks and stored on mobile phone and devices. So transaction person to person भी हो सकती है and person to merchant भी हो सकती है. Person to merchant transaction के लिए there will be QR codes, and if we talk about users, they will be able to withdraw digital tokens from banks in the same way that they can currently withdraw physical cash, right? They will be able to keep their digital tokens in the wallet and spend them online or in person or transfer via in an app, right? So now These points are the most important pointers related to rupee. Very important news. Now we'll talk about another news in today's newspaper analysis, and this is related to Down syndrome. So experts discuss standardizing treatment protocols for Down syndrome. So if we talk about Down syndrome, first we'll quickly talk about the फिजिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक. सो सबसे पहले तो आपके कुछ सिम्टम्स होते हैं जैसे फ्लैटर्ड नोज एंड फेस, upward slanting eyes, wide short hands with short fingers, separated joints between the bones of the skull, excess skin at the nape of the neck, single palmar crease with short fifth finger that curves inward, white spots on the colored part of the eye, small ears, small mouth, decreased muscle tone at birth, and widely separated first and second toes and increased skin creases. So these are the main physical characteristics or symptoms of the Down syndrome. So अगर हम बात करें अभी मीटिंग जो हुई है उसमें it was decided. So the meet was Asia Pacific Down Syndrome Federation Annual General Meeting 2022, which was inaugurated virtually by the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. So अगर हम बात करें यहाँ पे राइट तमिलनाडु से रिलेटेड यहाँ पे हम बात करें जो कि वहाँ पे हुई थी विच वॉज इनॉग्रेटेड बाय चीफ मिनिस्टर M.K. Stalin. On the first day of the conference, a group comprising of doctors with knowledge of Down syndrome convened to discuss standardizing the medical passports, which is a compilation of the medical history of a person with the syndrome, protocols of treatment and postnatal counseling. So इसमें थे कौन कौन? इंडिया, जापान, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Thailand, Vietnam, Nepal, Myanmar, Mongolia, and Bhutan. These were the participating countries in this meet, and the name of the meet was Asia Pacific Down Syndrome Federation Annual General Meet. Right, so these were the participating countries. आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे नेम लिखे हुए हैं. Right, and 5 more countries joined through video conference. Now, if we talk about N. Ramchandran, the president of Asia Pacific Down Syndrome Federation, अब जब हम इस फेडरेशन की बात कर रहे हैं तो इनके प्रेसिडेंट का नाम भी आपको याद होना चाहिए. द नेम ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट इज M. Ramchandran. The name of the president is N. Ramchandran. Right, so he presented a review of the presentation efforts over the past few years and outlined its future plan. Right, major achievement जो अभी तक किया है इस एशिया पैसिफिक डाउन सिंड्रोम फेडरेशन ने till 2022, it was becoming a member of United Nations. Right, so it has now become a member of United Nations, and the association with United Nations will help the federation take up the issue specific to person with DS to global level. So this is important. So Down syndrome से related आपको all major fact you should remember because this is an important topic. Now next, China's move in the Indian Ocean. If we talk about China's move in the Indian Ocean, here we need to talk that how is the China Indian Ocean Region Forum different from the Indian Ocean Rim Association, and did India attend the event? Why is China deepening its role in the Indian Ocean region, and did Australia and Maldives participate in the forum? So 21st November को चाइना के जो टॉप डेवलपमेंट एंड एजेंसी है इट कन्वीन दैट फर्स्ट चाइना इंडियन ओशियन रीजन फोरम इन द साउथ वेस्टर्न Chinese city of Manhattan. The meet organized by the China International Development आप कह सकते हो cooperation agency, and it is the latest Chinese initiative to focus on the Indian Ocean region. Right, what is China India Ocean Region Forum. So China Indian Ocean रीजन फॉरम की अगर यहाँ बात करें, यू नीड टू रिमेंबर दिस. सो बेसिकली इट इज चाइनाज न्यू डेवलपमेंट एड एजेंसी. सो इट इज द न्यू डेवलपमेंट एड एजेंसी ऑफ चाइना, newly developed, right, currently headed by former vice foreign minister, right, Luo Zhaohu, right. And if we talk about this, we can say that it was the first high level official development cooperation formally jointly held by China and countries in the Indian Ocean region, over 100 participants, right. तो अगर हम इसको देखें, आपको इसके बारे में मेन पॉइंट्स पता होने चाहिए, ठीक है. ये जो फॉरम है, इट अंडरलाइंस द बीजिंग्स ग्रोइंग स्ट्रैटेजिक इंटरेस्ट इन दी रीजन वेयर इट्स इकोनॉमिक फुटप्रिंट्स हैड बीन डीपनिंग, राइट. सो यहाँ पे आपको जिस चीज़ पे फोकस करना है वो है चाइना इंडियन ओशियन रीजन फॉरम. इसकी अगर हम बात करें तो आपको सिंपल सी चीज़ें पता होनी चाहिए, दैट इट वाज हेल्ड विदाउट इंडिया, राइट. दिस फॉरम हेल्ड विदाउट इंडिया, राइट. इंडियन ओशन की बात हो रही है, बट इसमें इंडिया मेंबर नहीं है. सो चाइना ऑर्गेनाइज फर्स्ट हाई लेवल चाइना इंडियन ओशन फोरम ऑन डेवलपमेंट कॉपरेशन विद 19 कंट्रीज. कितनी कंट्रीज के साथ किया इसने? विद 19 कंट्रीज फ्रॉम द रीजन एक्सेप्ट इंडिया, right. It was done without India. The event was quietly held along with many other events including 6th China South Asia Expo and China India Ocean Region Think Tank Forum, right. So इसमें अगर हम बात करें क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है, सो अगर हम इस फॉरम की बात करें, फॉरम के हेड का नाम आपको पता होना चाहिए. द नेम ऑफ द हेड इज लुओ, LUOZHAOHUI, जाओ. आप देख सकते हो लुओ झाओहुई इज द नेम ऑफ द हेड ऑफ चाइना इंडियन ओशियन रीजन फोरम. एंड व्हाट हैज़ बीन सेड, सो कंट्रीज पार्टिसिपेशन की अगर हम यहाँ पे बात करें, द कंट्रीज पार्टिसिपेटेड इन दिस फोरम वर इंडोनेशिया, पाकिस्तान, म्यांमार, श्रीलंका, बांग्लादेश, मालदीव्स, नेपाल, अफगानिस्तान, ईरान, ओमान, साउथ अफ्रीका, केन्या, मोजाम्बिक, तंजानिया, Seychelles, Madagascar, Mauritius and Djibouti. That means all the major countries in the Indian Ocean except India, they participated in it, and they proposed a marine disaster prevention and a mitigation cooperation mechanism between China and the other countries, and they are ready to provide necessary financial, material and technical support to the countries which are in need, right. So India was not invited to the forum. आपको ये भी पता होना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं है कि इंडिया खुद नहीं गया. India was not even invited to the forum, which is seen by expert as an attempt to challenge India's traditional presence in the region. So यहाँ पे it is very important that we should know that where does India stand related to this, right. And when we talk about this, so we can say that India as a major country in the Indian Ocean region, it was invited to the forum and the prospects appears unlikely. New Delhi was viewed China's recent move in the region, right, including the recent visit of Chinese military tracking vessel. तो आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे एक तरफ वो रिश्ते ठीक करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बट दूसरी तरफ इस तरह के स्टेप्स लेके दे आर इनडायरेक्टली चैलेंजिंग इंडिया, राइट. सो दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, एंड ये जो टॉपिक है दिस कैन बी इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स हु आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर क्लैट. चलिए नाउ नेक्स्ट, अफगानिस्तान ओपन फॉर इन्वेस्टमेंट बाय इंडिया. सो अफगानिस्तान रिक्वायर्स इंडियन इन्वेस्टमेंट. A representative of Taliban told this to the newspaper agents. So यहाँ पे Taliban's head of political office Suhail Sahin said a Taliban delegation had met the head of mission of the Indian embassy in Kabul and invited its teams to help build and sustain infrastructure projects in the country. And Afghanistan is open for Indian investment, including urban infrastructure. So this is the message from the Afghanistan Minister of Urban Development, which communicated in a recent meeting with Indian charge in Kabul, said that the Taliban's Minister of Urban Development, जिनका नाम है, आपको नाम भी याद होना चाहिए, Taliban's Minister of Urban Development, Hamdullah Nomani and Indian Charge Affairs Bharat Kumar held discussions on the investments and other project. Right, so अगर हम यहाँ पे बात करें, so India pledged assistance to Afghanistan stands at 3.1 billion since November 2001. An infrastructure project जो है वो काफ़ी वहाँ पे implement किए गए with Indian help. For example, पहला a 218-kilometer road project from Zarans to Dalaram in southwestern Afghanistan was done with the Indian help. A 220 kV DC transmission line from Pule Khumri to Kabul was manufactured or launched by Indian help. The Salma Dam power project in Herat province created with the Indian help. So second, third and fourth, Afghan Parliament and Indira Gandhi Institute of Child Health and Habiba School, both in Kabul, created with the help of India. And a 220, 110 and 20 kV substation at Chimtala installed with the help of India. Right, so India has always been a helping hand, and in future it is also ready to be the helping hand. It's just that the major concern is security, and Shaheen assured the security and promised a peaceful working environment for the Indian companies and said security of Indians is our responsibility and we assured them. Right, so it is important when we talk about India Afghanistan deals, so you need to be focused on the facts related to it. Now, if we talk about next, this is about a ranking in the aviation sector. So, ranking in aviation की अगर हम बात करें, so next news है ये, India scores highest ever ranking in aviation safety. India gets best ever aviation safety rank. So recently, United Nations Aviation Arm with the name International Civil Aviation Organization, it has ranked Indian aviation safety oversight mechanism at the 48th rank or 48th spot, which is a quantum leap from 802nd rank 4 years ago. And why this is important? Because in just 4 years, from 2018's 102nd rank to direct jump on 48th rank in 2022, it is a great achievement. So we can say that with the country getting its highest ever rank in the ICAO aviation rank, ICAO, which is International Civil Aviation Organization safety rank, अरुण कुमार जो कि चीफ है डायरेक्टरेट जनरल ऑफ सिविल एविएशन के, दे सेट द चैलेंज इज टू फर्दर इम्प्रूव द एयर सेफ्टी इकोसिस्टम. थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड की बात कर लेते हैं. Right, so ICAO had earlier audited the Indian Directorate General of Civil Aviation to check its effective implementation of the safety elements, which is under Universal Safety Oversight Audit Program. Following which, United Nations Aviation Arm has given DGCA its highest ever EI score, right, and putting India on the 48th rank. So 48th rank है India की in the aviation safety, right, in 2022. Above that, the countries like China की 49 है, Israel 50, Turkey 54, Denmark 55. एंड जैसा मैंने बताया, आपको हमेशा याद होना चाहिए जब भी रैंकिंग की बात हो, इंडिया की रैंक विच इज़ 48th in 2022, ग्रेट जम्प फ्रॉम 102nd रैंक इन द ईयर 2018. 4 साल में 102 से 48 तक आना. दूसरा मैंने आपको बताया था दी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो इसको रिलीज़ करती है रैंकिंग को, सो द नेम इज़ इंटरनेशनल सिविल एविएशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जो कि यूनाइटेड नेशन की एविएशन आर्म है. एंड तीसरा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है टॉप रैंक कंट्री. सो टॉप रैंक कंट्री इन दिस इज सिंगापुर, right? Then we have UAE, South Korea, France and Iceland. US is at 22nd position and Qatar is at 25th. तो आपको ये positions याद होनी चाहिए. Right, now let's talk about, I think, the last news which is related to NADA India, which is to host inclusion conclave to sharpen the focus on athletes with disabilities on 22nd December 2022, जो already हो चुका है. So NADA stands for National Anti-Doping Agency. It hosted an inclusion conclave to sharpen the focus on anti-doping education and processes for athletes and disabilities. Right? नाडा वॉज स्टैब्लिश्ड, ये आपको पता होना चाहिए कि कब स्टैब्लिश हुआ, किस मोटिव के साथ स्टैब्लिश हुआ. नाडा वॉज स्टैब्लिश बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया विद द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ एक्टिंग एज द इंडिपेंडेंट एंटी डोपिंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फॉर इंडिया फॉर हैविंग अ विजन ऑफ डॉप फ्री स्पोर्ट्स. First, second, and now third. It was set up as a registered society under the Societies Registration Act of 1860 on November 2000 in November 2005. Primary function क्या है नाडा के? पहला, to implement anti-doping code to achieve compliance by all sports, right, organization in the country, to coordinate DOP testing program through all participating stakeholders, and to promote anti-doping research education to inculcate the values of DOP-free states, and to adopt best practice standards and quality system to enable effective implementation and improvement of the program. So you need to remember this, right? Now we'll quickly talk about the questions of the day, and the first question that we have here is, consider the following statements. आपको बतानी है which of the statements given above are correct. So Meghalaya was carved out of West Bengal and Meghalaya became a full-fledged state in 1972. So अगर आप ये statements देखें, the answer is B, which is 2 only. Meghalaya became a full-fledged state in 1972 because Meghalaya was not carved out of West Bengal, but Meghalaya was carved out of Assam and became a full-fledged state in 1972. They share, Assam and Meghalaya, they share 884 kilometers of boundary. 12 points of dispute between the two states emerged when Meghalaya refused to accept the Assam Reorganizational Meghalaya Act of 1969. Second question. Recently, which one of the following has published its फर्स्ट स्टेट ऑफ ग्लोबल वाटर रिसोर्सेज रिपोर्ट? एंड आपके सामने ऑप्शन है UN वाटर, WMO, WWF एंड UNEP. द आंसर इज WMO, which stands for World Meteorological Organization. It has published its first State of Global Water Resources report in order to assess the effects of climate, environmental and societal changes on the Earth's water resources. जो recent United Nations Climate Change Conference हुई है, 27th Conference of Parties or COP27, it urged the governments to further integrate water into adaptation efforts, and the first time water has been referred to in a COP outcome document to its critical importance. Third question. Sangai is found in which of the following states of India? Karnataka, Maharashtra, Odisha or Manipur? And the answer is, you can see Manipur. So it is bro-antlered deer, right? जिसका common name है Sangai, which is the bro-antlered deer. Dancing deer status, it is a state animal of Manipur, included in the Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and marked as endangered on IUCN Red List. So these were the important news and important question. And last question is, with the reference to the Wildlife Trust of India, consider the following statement. It is an autonomous organization under the Ministry of Environment and Forest. It strives to conserve nature through action-based research, education, public awareness. It organizes and conducts nature trail and camps for the general public. Which of the following statements given above are correct? And the second and third statements are correct. First is not correct. Reason, if we talk about Wildlife Trust of India, it is an Indian Nature Conservation Organization formed in 1998 in response to the many crises confronting India's wildlife and wild habitats, and WTI is registered charity in India under Section 12A of the Income Tax Act of 1961. So these were the important question and the news for today's session. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope I was able to make these difficult news easier for you with the important pointers? If yes, what you need to do is like the video, share the video, subscribe the Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel, and most important, press the bell icon to get the notification of all the upcoming videos, right? So that was all for today's session. Thank you so much everyone for attending the session and watching the session later on also, right? Bye everyone. Bye bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Thank you for watching.